Hello, everybody. Good to be with you. So today, what I'd like to do is talk to you about why it is that you can't stay awake. And I had a conversation with a client this morning, and I told him I was going to cut this video, and he and I talked about it just a little bit, and then he confessed that he was in the very same situation, that he was in isolation. And so I thought, well, hell, it must be a sign of some sort that I need to do this video. So here we are, driven by fate. The odds of us meeting here today were 100%. So as I pointed out to my friend in Israel, the first reason, the primary reason that you can't stay awake, and this is shocking, but it's true. Primary reason you can't stay awake is that you're not asleep. You're not asleep. So how the hell are you going to stay awake when you're not asleep to begin with? See, because the problem is when you think you can't stay awake, what you're really saying is, I don't know who I am, because I don't know who it is that wants to stay awake. That's what it is. It's a case of misidentification, just like it is with everything else. But in this particular one, we can notice it in a different sort of way and gain some insight here. So the idea, because the conviction of every seeker is that I'm a seeker and I'm not awake, and I should be. And then there can be there can be a glimpse or something, and then you can say I'm a seeker and I'm not awake, but I used to be. It's the only thing crazier than I'm awake right than declaring that you're awake right now. See, I can declare that I cannot declare that I'm awake right now because I'm not. See, you are awake. That's the way you would translate it. I am awakeness, and that's a massive difference. See, awakeness itself, which is what you are, does not have the capacity for sleep. And if you do not have the capacity for sleep, then what chance do you have of waking up? So you can't undo what hasn't happened. So what's really happened is that the first lie has been told and the first lie has been believed. The first lie is what? It's that I'm an individual. That's the first lie. I'm a Fred. That would be the first lie here. But it's that I'm an individual. And that's just a lie. And when I notice that I'm an individual, the first thing I notice is that I'm just not good enough. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not clear enough or clean enough or something. Jesus. But for some reason, I can't wake up right now. Thank you. So I assign myself some arduous tasks. And I decide, well, I have got to climb the Himalayas. And if I make up my mind that I've got to climb the Himalayas in order to wake up, I've got to climb the Himalayas. Or I can give up that belief. And if I decided that I'm a spiritual seeker on the path and I'm progressing, I'm going to have to recognize that there's no seeker, there's no path, and there's no such thing as progress. Those are hard things to give up. I know. I went through this forever. My friend reported that his name is Leor. I'll just call him Leor, for God's sake. I mean, like there's only one Leor in Israel. And so he reported that he was in oscillation. And I said, well, let me ask you this, Oneness. Where do you go when you oscillate? And we could see very clearly that oneness cannot oscillate. So there is no oscillation. See, this is the same way. I need to quit oscillating. It's just like I need to wake up, or I need to stay awake. I need to stay awake. You know, why can't I stay awake? Because you're not asleep. That's the reason. You're already awake. So, but what you're trying to do is shift this experience into being something else. And maybe that experience will be the fulfilling experience. That will be the experience that will allow me to congratulate myself for having achieved awakening to the fact that I'm nobody. Well, once I've got you believing I'm nobody, now I'm somebody again. Because you couldn't help but notice that how special I am. That's the whole gambit, to have you recognize how special I am. And I hope you do, because I can't, right? I hope you hold me in very high esteem, because I hold myself in very low esteem. I can't be enough. See, I was born into this world, if you will. That the world was born into me, but this unit was born into this world for the certain point of view. And that initial point of view was what? It was, there's no sense of separation. So it was oneness, not at birth. So there's oneness, was experiencing oneness as oneness without even knowing it. So there was the knowing, oh, I'm oneness. There's just one. I mean, it's not the way it would be clinically stated, but I mean, it's for all intents and purposes. There's the sense of, oh, there's just oneness. There's just this one thing. There's not even anyone to know that. See, that's the thing about oneness, is that there's just one. So there's not anybody else that's going to come to know oneness. There is nothing other than oneness. So, and we can go that same game for those of you who prefer awareness or something like that. We can go down that road too, but we're staying with oneness for the moment. But just to check, can you find anything outside of your awareness? Could you ever find anything outside of your awareness? Is it your awareness? Who's the owner of awareness? Can you find an owner to awareness? Whose attention am I speaking to? Whose attention am I speaking from? Do I have attention? Or does attention have me? I think I'm the carrier of awareness, but I'm not. I'm the carried by awareness. I'm going to merge with oneness really soon. Okay, good luck with that. So why can't you stay awake? Because you're not asleep, but because you think that you are identifying as a character. The one who wants to wake up is actually the only impediment to you shining brilliantly as wakefulness this moment. That's the only thing stopping it. Because see, you think that there's a character. That's what it feels like. I get that. I'm just telling you the way it is, not what it feels like. But it feels like there's a character, and that this character should be, that this character is not awake, and this character should be awake, because it's heard about awakening. That's what happens. You know, they say that once you hear the word enlightenment, that it's all over and done. It's just a matter of time. And I'm not sure that's not true. Not that there's anyone to get enlightened, but there's stuff to be seen through by awakeness that will occur sometimes when there is a pull toward so-called waking up. You can come to, like, you know, you can come to notice when you're trying to wake up that there's nobody to wake up. See, but that won't happen if you're not looking, unless it does. I actually am working with more and more people these days who have already had awakenings, and they come to me, and a lot of them will get an awakening session just because it gives them greater clarity on what they're doing and where they're coming from and what's really going on here. But I didn't wake them up. They just, well, and I can't wake up anybody because there's no one here and there's no one else to wake up. Sleep is a myth. It's within relativity. This thing sleeps. That thing sleeps. But that's within a dream. See, sleeping and waking occur within the dream. Because you can't go to sleep if you're already awake, and you can't, and awakeness can't go to sleep. So there's always awakeness present here, right now. Whatever it is that's looking at this Fred thing, the thing we call a Fred, it thinks it's an individual, but it's not. You, the individual on the other side of this. There's no individual on the other side of this. It's a farce. Awakeness is over here, and you know where else awakeness is? Everywhere else, which includes your position, so to speak. That's the way it'll feel. So the very thing that believes it is a Fred who needs to wake up is actually awakeness, not understanding that it's a Fred. That it's not a Fred, and that there's not one. There's no Fred anywhere. See, we wonder about who is it that is confused, and we think that these units are confused, and so we take them to retreats, and we read books, and we do all kinds of practices, and we do this and that and the other, because there's something I want you to understand. I'm not telling you don't do any of those things. Hell, I did all those things except for the retreats. But you cannot get to the truth by way of a false character. Ooh. See, Fred can never come to recognize the truth because there's no Fred. But there's something that thought it was a Fred, and that thing that thought it was a Fred was awakeness. Would you excuse me if we just use the word God for just a minute? Fred Davis desperately wanted to wake up to the truth of God. But what happened was that the truth of God woke up to the fiction of Fred Davis instead. This awareness, you can't find anything outside of it. What would you look outside of it with if you were gonna try? You'd use your attention, wouldn't you? So I'm using my attention, and I'm hoping that pretty soon here, I'm going to find what? Awareness. Now, most of us would come to agree that attention is localized awareness. It's the sense. Attention is an experience of location for awareness. It's a point of view that arises when it appears to inhabit one of these units, as if the unit actually is, well, it's here and not here. But again, I guarantee you that there's no attention in it. But remove the brain, it'll fall, right? So I'm not saying the body's not important. I'm just saying it doesn't exist. Or I'm telling you that actually it does exist, but it's not yours. These are different views seen from relativity, because that's what I want, is I want the final answer. Would you just spit it out, Fred? Would you just tell me today, finally, what's true and what's not true? That's what we want to know. The problem is, the one who's demanding that answer is what's not true. Because see, what I notice is sitting here in the awakeness perch, if you want to call it that, which I apparently do want to call it that for the moment, because I'm kind of just being a little cocky right now. Sitting here from the awakeness perch, what I notice is that attention can't find awareness, because the attention that I'm looking with is not other than awareness. Now, this is big money stuff here, right? You can't imagine. I mean, I made a lot of money sharing this stuff with people. Now I'm giving it to you. Why on earth would I do that? Well, some of you may still find it beneficial to talk to me. No one needs to, but I notice that I stay pretty busy. Although the good news is, just on a personal note, as if there's something personal here, we're pretending there's something personal here, something personal there, that there's more than one. All of that's bullshit, but that's what we're going to say anyway. We're still going to use that language. So what I notice is that this unit has made up its mind this year. Its partner unit, its wife unit. Betsy has retired from the VA. She's going to be here more. She's going to be doing more of this, and I'm going to be doing less of this. Because what you don't see is that when I'm not doing one of these, or I'm not working on the website or whatever, I'm working on something. So there's going to be a bit less of that. And there are going to be a few less sessions too. I'm going to drop my 4:30 sessions unless you're in Australia or Japan or something where it's just got to be required. So it's not because it's mission accomplished over here. There'll never be mission accomplished. Nisargadatta, what did he say? Gurus come, gurus go. I noticed not much changes. But this unit, it just can't stay awake. That's not true. This unit is awakeness. But even awakeness can grow tired. And awakening sessions wear this unit out. So I'm going to do fewer of them. And I don't know that I'll always do awakening sessions. I just had to see, because I don't do them now. The decision was never made that I'm now going to do awakening sessions. It just started happening, and it may some point stop. Who knows? I don't know. So at any rate, I've gotten way off track, which is what I do here. Is that we just start to discuss something, and then we just go where it goes. And I've noticed that that's exactly what happens in satsang, and that's exactly what happens in private satsang one-on-one. Is that we start off here and we just wander. Because what's really happening here ain't about the words. I just met with a wonderful client. She's a life coach, and she's very clear and really nice. And we were discussing how that we could, but Leora and I noticed it on the one before. And and I guess my friend is more of a, well, she's a life coach and not just a business coach. She's done a lot of that too. Fred just can't talk fast enough, can he? He's just going to get something in here. So what we see is that chiefly what happens here happens between the words. It happens behind the words. It happens underneath the words, but that it's not really the words that do it. When it was not universal, but I did have many clients who were here in October, and they said, wow, I mean, it was just a complete different thing being there with it, meaning this unit, right? And we're the same thing. So naturally, I mean, even the idea that I resonate with myself is insane, isn't it? Because there's nothing but me, so there's only resonation. But that resonation isn't always noticed. Here, it's noticed. But it may not be noticed in a conventional sense. It's noticed by it. It's noticed by it. And it has a resonance here because there's just not a whole hell of a lot of Fred left. That's why. If you think I'm clearer than you are, you're crazy, because we are the same thing. But if you think there's less Fred here than there is of you there, that might be true. I remember when I first began to discover that was the key. Was that the teachers that I could see who still had something to show me, there was simply less of them there than there was of Fred here. So they still had something to teach me. And I still listen to others and read stuff, you know. I'm not in search of waking up because I'm not asleep. I am awakeness itself. But I'm always interested in the way I put things through other units and through other teachings. Because there's some people on the internet who are very good, very clear. I respect them very much. But if I was to come out and teach like them, the room would vacate. Because that's not the way that the message comes out here. That's the message. What is that? That's not the way that I talk to myself in that location. Jesus, the words lose me. I mean, I lose the words, right? We just lost in them. We need all these teachings. We even need the fake ones. How do we know? We got them. To the best of my knowledge, this is not one of the fake ones. And I've got an awful lot of people who would agree with that, because this teaching produces results. But don't think that it produces results for somebody, because it doesn't. Because there's nobody over there. There's nobody over here. There's only this. There's only this. And even though I know that there's only this, I'm still deathly concerned about what these empty-headed units think about me. What do these puppets, what do they think about me? This is Betty, what is Betty's secret? What are her secret thoughts about the Fred unit? Oh my God, she doesn't think very highly of me, and I wish she did. And Bob, he's never thought anything very highly. But that's okay, because I don't think very highly of Bob either. So we're in agreement, which is that we have very low expectations for each other. Betty still maintains expectations of this unit, which means that she is still insane. Bob has seen through it, seen this unit has nothing to offer. That there's no one here. There's no one to author something. And there's nothing here that's asleep. Asleep is a dream, and you know what? It's a Betty and Bob dream. Bob is dreaming that there's a Bob that's dreaming. The whole Bob dream, waking dream thing occurs within the dream that this is. There's only this dream. There's no there's no waking up to this dream, from this dream. There are experiences that will feel very much like that. But there's only the dream. You are the potential for all things. You can't possibly wake up. You are the potential for all things. You cannot possibly go to sleep. You are that which is prior to consciousness. And you cannot go to sleep. You are wakefulness itself. This wakefulness. The wakefulness that's taking in what this unit is saying. It's just awakeness using a unit in order to experience itself objectively. All right, awakeness. I think we'll call it a day. Thank you very much for your undivided attention, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.